In this video, you will learn how to create a website with links using HTML like this. You will create a HTML website using a free software or text editor you will download shortly. Let's get started. The free text editor you're about to download is called the Visual Studio Code Editor. So, type Visual Studio Code Editor into the Google search engine or any search engine of your choice and enter it. Then click on the download link. Then choose the operating system that applies to you. Well, I have already downloaded the Visual Studio Code Editor, so I won't be downloading again. So install your Visual Studio Code Editor and open it. Again, you will download a folder to make your work easier. So click the first link in the description below. I will copy and paste the link in my Google Chrome browser. Then click on the My Tools HTML arrow and click the download button. Wait for it to download. Then go to your downloaded My Tools zipped folder and extract your folder to any location of your choice. Well, I suggest the desktop location. Now your extracted file should be on your chosen location of your computer. Mine is on the desktop location. So you can see it. You can now open the My Tools HTML folder. You need to open it down because later on you will use it in the course of this tutorial. You will now begin the process of creating and saving your file in the desktop location of your computer. So click the New Text File button in the File menu of your Visual Studio Code Editor. Again, go back to the File menu and click the Save As button. Change the current location to desktop. If your location is already on the desktop, leave it and proceed to the next step. Name your file index in the File Name box. Then choose the HTML option in the Save As Type menu to make your file a HTML file. Click the Save button to save your new web page. You need to create a folder that will contain your website. You need to do this so that your desktop will not be cluttered. So, create a new folder on the desktop location of your computer. Rename it My First Website. You will transfer your web page to your new folder. But first, close your Visual Studio Code Editor. Then, cut your web page. Paste it inside your My First Website folder you just created. Now, you will reopen your Visual Studio Code Editor HTML file. So, right-click your web page and click the open with button menu and look for the Visual Studio Code Editor option. Well, your Visual Studio Code Editor is not among the options. To move ahead, click the Choose Another App button. Still not among the options, click the More Apps link. Search for the Visual Studio Code Editor and click it. You need to scroll down. You will now open your web page with any browser of your choice, but you will open it right inside your Visual Studio Code Editor. So, click the Open File button in the File menu of your Visual Studio Code Editor. Now select your web page and open it with any browser of your choice. I open mine with the Firefox browser. Your web page is now open but empty. Don't worry, we will address that situation. Now close the Open File dialog box. You will now create the basic parts of a web page, which are the HTML5 declaration tag, the HTML elements, the head of your web page, the title of your web page, and the body of your web page. You are starting with the HTML5 declaration tag. So, type the HTML5 declaration tag like this. Save the changes made. Time to create the HTML element. The HTML element is created by typing the start and end tag of the HTML element. So type the start and end tag of the HTML element after the HTML5 declaration tag like this. Save the changes made. Over to the creation of the head of a web page. We create the head of a web page by typing the start and end tag of the head element. So type the start and end tag of the head element inside the HTML element like this. Save and refresh your web page. Well, nothing yet in your web page. Don't worry. Time for you to give your web page a title. The title of a web page is created by typing the start and end tag of the title element inside the head element. So, type the start and end tag of the title element inside the head of your web page. Type the word first in between the start and end tag of the title element. Save and refresh your web page. You will now create the last basic part of a web page, the body of your web page, which is the visible part of the web page. The body of a web page is created by typing the start and end tag of the body element. So, type the start and end tag of the body element after the head of your web page. Save your work. You will soon add some things to the body of your web page. But before that, I think it is necessary to create a skeletal HTML template. This will help you later in that when you want to create another web page, you don't have to start all over again, creating the basic parts. Now, click the Save As button of the File menu. Change the index name in the file name box to HTML skeleton. Since the option is already in HTML in the Save As type menu, you don't have to change anything. So, click the Save button to save the newly created file. Now delete the word first, which is inside the title. Save the changes made. You will notice that you have left the first file, which is the index.html you created earlier. So you need to reopen it. To do that, again click the Open File button of your Visual Studio Code editor. Select the index.html web page and open it. Then close the HTML skeleton.html you just created to avoid confusion. It is now time to give your web page a header. The header of a web page is created by typing the start and end tag of the header element. Therefore, type the start and end tag of the header element inside the body of your web page like this. Type the words first web page in between the start and end tag of the header element. Save and refresh the web page. Your header is too small, so you will adjust it through the H1 heading, one of the 6 headings in HTML and the most important. The H1 heading is created by typing the start and end tag of the H1 heading. So, type the start and end tag of the H1 heading after the words you typed earlier, but still inside the header. Then cut the words first web page and paste it in between the start and end tag of the H1 heading. Save and refresh your web page. You will attempt to align the style element to the center. But to do that, you will use one method of CSS. Well, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. The method of CSS you'll be using is internal CSS, which is the use of the style elements in the head of your web page after the title of your web page. The style element is created by typing the start and end tag of the style element. So, type the start and end tag of the style element after the title of your web page inside the head of your web page. Save the changes made. You will now proceed to align the header to the center. You start by typing the header selector statement in between the start and end tag of the style element. So, type the header selector statement in between the start and end tag of the style element like this. Then type the text align property into the header brace brackets. Then type the word center in between the colon and semicolon of the text align property as the value of the text align property. Save and refresh your web page. You will change the color of your header. You can change it to any color of your choice, but I choose to change mine to green. To proceed, type the color property after the text align property in the header brace brackets. You can type any color of your choice, but I type green as the value of the color property. Save and refresh your web page. You will now proceed to create the navigation bar. The navigation bar is created by typing the start and end tag of the navigation element. So type the start and end tag of the navigation element after the header in the body of your web page. Save the changes made. Time to create HTML links. You will create 3 HTML links. A link is created by typing the start and end tag of the link element with the href attribute inside the start tag of the link element. So, type the start and end tag of the link elements in between the start and end tag of the navigation element. Then type the href attribute into the start tag of the link elements. Now note that the href attribute in a link takes the visitor to the web page when it is clicked. It is the actual pointer to the web page. So type index.html as the value of the href attribute to lead any visitor to the web page index.html. Then type the word first in between the start and end tag of the link elements. Save and refresh your web page. You will now create the two other links, but you will use the copy and paste method. These are the links to the two other web pages you will create later. So, copy the link you just created. Paste what you have just copied 2 times in the navigation bar. One, two. Now go to the second link and change the value of the attribute of the second link to second.html. Change the word first in between the start and end tag of the second link and replace it with the word second. Save and refresh your web page. You will repeat the same process for the third link. Now change the value of the href attribute of the third link to third.html. Then change the word first to third in between the start and end tag of the third link. Save and refresh your web page. You will now give your navigation bar background color of your choice. I will give mine background color of green. Now start the process by typing the navigation selector statement after the header selector statement in the style elements. Type the background color property inside the navigation brace brackets. Well, I type green as the value of the background color property. Save and refresh your web page. You will now align the links to the center of the navigation bar. To start the process, just add the link selector to the navigation statement in the style elements. Then type the text align property after the background color property in the now combined brace bracket of the navigation and link selector. Type center as the value of the text align property. Save and refresh your web page. The header and the links in the navigation bar look jam-packed. You will create a space around the characters of the header and navigation bar. First, to the header, type the padding property after the color property in the header brace brackets. Type 20 pixels as the value of the padding property. Save and refresh your web page. You will also apply the padding property to the navigation bar and HTML links. But to hasten the process, copy the padding property you just created in the header brace brackets. Now paste it after the text align property in the combined navigation and link brace brackets. Save and refresh your web page. You will attempt to change the color of the HTML links to white. Now type the color property after the padding property in the combined navigation and link brace brackets. Type white as the value of the color property. Save and refresh your web page. You will attempt to remove the underline from the links. So type the text decoration property after the color property. Type the word none as the value of the text decoration property. Save and refresh your web page. Done with the navigation bar for now. You will attempt to add content to your web page. You will start by creating the H2 heading, the second type of heading in HTML, and the order of importance. The H2 heading is created by typing the start and end tag of the H2 heading. So type the start and end tag of the H2 heading after the navigation bar in the body of your web page. Type the sentence second heading in this web page in between the start and end tag of the H2 heading. Save and refresh your web page. You will now align your H2 heading to the center. Therefore, type the H2 heading statement after the combined navigation and link statements in the style element. Type the text align property inside the H2 brace. Type center as the value of the text align property. Save and refresh your web page. This means that all the H2 headings in this web page will be aligned to the center. You will now give your H2 heading another color. Well, I will give mine the color of green so that it will rhyme with the header. Proceed now by typing the color property after the text align property in the H2 brace brackets. Note that I'm using brace brackets interchangeably. I type green as the value of the color property. Save and refresh your web page. This means that all the H2 headings will have the green color. Time for you to create your first paragraph. A paragraph is created by typing the start and end tag of the paragraph element. So, type the start and end tag of the paragraph element after the H2 heading. Now, go to the Lorem 2022 file in the My Tools HTML folder you downloaded earlier and copy the first paragraph. Paste what you've copied in between the start and end tag of the paragraph elements. Save and refresh your web page. You will now change the color of the letters of your paragraph. As usual, in this tutorial, I will change mine to green. I will start the process by typing the paragraph selector statement after the H2 heading statement in the style elements. Then I type the color property inside the paragraph brace brackets. I now type green as the value of the color property. Save and refresh your web page. To make your web page look more professional, you will add 4 more headings and paragraphs to your web page. To proceed, type another start and end tag of the H2 heading after the last paragraph. Type the words other headings and paragraphs in between the start and end tag of the H2 heading. Save and refresh your web page. Note that your H2 heading is green and aligned to the center because you have styled it to be so as stated earlier. Over to creating another paragraph. So, type the start and end tag of another paragraph element after the last H2 heading you've just created. Then go again to the Lorem 2022 file you downloaded and copy the second paragraph in the file. Then paste it in between the start and end tag of the paragraph elements. Save and refresh your web page. To the remaining 3 H2 headings and paragraphs. To save time, you will not start from the scratch. You will copy and paste 3 times. So go back to your Visual Studio Code editor and copy the last H2 heading and paragraph. Now paste it 3 times. One, two, three. Save and refresh your web page. You will now create the footer of your web page. The footer of a web page is created by typing the start and end tag of the footer elements. So, type the start and end tag of the footer elements after the last paragraph of your web page. Save the changes made. You will now add a contact address to the footer of your web page. Well, I will now type my own imaginary address, which is on 100 Oyedele Street off Liasu Road, Egbe. Save and refresh your web page. You will give your footer a background color. I will give mine a background color of green, the same as the navigation bar. To save time, I will just add the footer selector to the combined navigation and link selector statements in the style element so that it will share all their properties. Save and refresh your web page. Again, see that since the footer now shares the same statement with the navigation and link elements, it will also share their properties, including the color property and the text align properties. You will now add the privacy policy link to the footer of your web page. Now start by typing the start and end tag of the link element after the address inside the footer of your web page. Then type the href attributes into the start tag of the link element. Type privacy.html as the value of the href attribute. Type the words privacy policy in between the start and end tag of the link element. Save and refresh your web page. Your contact address and privacy policy link look jam-packed, so you will move your privacy policy link a line below. To do that, you will use the line break tag or elements. The line break element has only one tag, so type the line break element after the contact address you typed earlier. Save and refresh your web page. Your contact address looks somehow. You will correct that. To correct it, you will use the H5 heading, the second to the list and one of the types of headings in HTML. The H5 heading is created by typing the start and end tag of the H5 heading. So, type the start and end tag of the H5 heading after your contact address, but before the HTML line break elements. Now cut your contact address and paste it in between the start and end tag of the H5 heading. Save and refresh your web page. You will now create the copyright for your web page. So type the words copyright 2022 after the privacy policy link. Save and refresh your web page. You will move the copyright a line below. To do that, you will use the H5 heading. So type the start and end tag of the H5 heading after your copyright statements. Cut your copyright statements and paste it in between the start and end tag of the H5 heading. Save and refresh your web page. You will now create your second web page. You will reopen the HTML skeleton template you created earlier on. So, click the Open File button in the File menu of your Visual Studio Code editor. Select the HTML skeleton web page and open it. You will now rename your web page to that of the second link. Remember that the value of the href attributes of the second link is second.html. That is the name of the second web page. Therefore, click the Save As button in the File menu of your Visual Studio Code editor. Then change the HTML skeleton in the file name box to second. Save your file. You see that now your file name is second.html. You will now open your new web page. You open it through the link on the web page itself, not the Visual Studio Code editor. Now click the second link on your web page. There you see it. Your web page, that is your second web page, is now created. You will now give your web page a title. Well, this is simple. Just type the word second in between the start and end tag of the title element of your web page. Save and refresh your web page. You will now add a header to your web page, but you will use a copy and paste method. So go to your index.html file in your Visual Studio Code editor and copy the header you created there. Then return to your second.html web page and paste it inside the body of your web page. Save and refresh your web page. Then change the words in between the start and end tag of the header elements to second web page. Save and refresh your web page. Time for you to style your header. You will use the internal CSS, but you will copy the style element from your index.html file and paste into the head element after the title of your second.html web page. Note that once you copy your style element from your index.html file and paste into your second.html file, all you just have to do is create the other parts of this web page. So copy the style element with its content from the index.html file. Now go back to your second.html and paste it after the title of your web page inside the head of the second.html file. Save and refresh your web page. You will now add the navigation bar to your second web page. You will also use the copy and paste method. So go back to your index.html file and copy the navigation element with everything contained in it. Then return to your second.html file and paste it after the header you just created. Save and refresh your web page. Time for you to add the post H2 heading. You will partly use the copy and paste method and then make some slight adjustments. Again, go back to your index.html file and copy one of the H2 heading elements. Return to the second.html web page and paste it after the navigation bar. Save and refresh your web page. Change the words in between the start and end tag of the H2 heading to more of this. Save and refresh your web page. You will now add a paragraph to your second web page so that you won't forget. You will create from the scratch. No worries, it is easy to create a paragraph. So type the start and end tag of the paragraph element after the H2 heading just created. Then go back to your downloaded Lorem Ipsum file and copy the third paragraph. Then paste it inside the paragraph just created. Save and refresh your web page. You will add other H2 headings and paragraphs. You will add 4 more H2 headings and paragraphs. You will use the copy and paste method. Now copy the last H2 heading and paragraph you just created. Then paste 4 times. One, 2, 3, 4. Save and refresh your web page. Lastly, on the creation of your second web page, you will add your footer through the copy and paste method. So go back to your index.html file and copy your footer and everything inside it. Return to your second.html file and paste after the last paragraph. Save and refresh your web page. Time to create the third web page. Of course, you will use the HTML skeleton template you created earlier on. So, click the Open File button in the File menu of your Visual Studio Code editor. Select the HTML skeleton HTML file and open it. You will now rename your third web page. So click the Save As button in the File menu. Rename your file third in the File Name box. Click the Save button to save your file. Time for you to open your third web page. So click the third link in your web page. You will now give your third web page its title. Just type the word third in between the start and end tag of the title element in the third.html file. Save and refresh your web page. Now you give your third web page its header. So go to your second.html file and copy the header. Return to your third.html web page and paste what you've just copied inside the body of the third web page. Save and refresh your web page. Replace the word second web page with the words third web page in between the start and end tag of the header elements. Save and refresh your web page. You will now align your header to the center, change its color, and pad it all at once. So go to the second.html file and copy the style elements. Return to your third.html and paste what has just been copied inside the head of your web page after the title elements. Save and refresh your web page. You will proceed now to give your third web page its navigation bar. Again, go back to your second.html file and copy the navigation bar with its contents. Return to your third.html web page and paste what you have just copied after the header of your web page. Save and refresh your web page. Time for you to create the first H2 heading for your third web page. Return again to your second.html file and copy any H2 heading. Go back to your third.html file and paste. Replace the words more of this to last of this. Save and refresh your web page. You will now add the first paragraph of your third web page. To save time, you will use the copy and paste method. Now go back to your second.html and copy any paragraph. Return to your third.html web page and paste after the H2 heading. Save and refresh your web page. As you did in the second.html web page, you will add 4 more H2 headings and paragraphs. So copy the H2 heading and paragraph just created. Paste 4 times. One, two, three, 4. Save and refresh your web page. Lastly, on your third web page, you will create a footer for your third web page. So go to your second .html file and copy the footer. Return to your third .html web page and paste after the last paragraph. Save and refresh your web page. Please, I think I need to go for a break. We are not yet through with the tutorial. Please don't close your web page or your Visual Studio Code editor. I'll be back. Welcome back. Through with my break. Time to create the privacy policy web page. Again, click the Open File button in the File menu of your Visual Studio Code editor. Select the HTML skeleton.html file and open it. Again, click the Save As button of the File menu of your Visual Studio Code editor. Remember that the href attribute of your privacy policy link is equal to policy.html. So that is to say, the name of your privacy policy web page is policy.html. So therefore, rename your file privacy in the file name box. Click the Save button to save your file. Now, refresh your web page and click the privacy policy link. You will now give your privacy policy web page a type. Again, just type the words privacy policy in between the start or end tag and the title element. Save and refresh your web page. Time to give your privacy policy web page its own header. To save time, go to your third.html file and copy its header. Return to your privacy.html file and paste what you just copied inside the body of your web page. Save and refresh your web page. Change the words in between the start and end tag of the header elements to privacy policy. Save and refresh your web page. You will now style the header of your current web page the same way you did for the previous 3 web pages you created earlier. Just go to your third.html file and copy the style elements after the title of your web page. Return to your privacy.html file and paste what you've just copied after the title of your web page inside the head of your web page. Save and refresh your web page. Over to the creation of the navigation bar of your privacy.html web page. Again, go to your third.html file and copy the navigation elements. Return to your privacy.html file and paste the copied navigation bar after the header of your web page. Save and refresh your web page. You will now add the other parts to your privacy policy web page. But first, to make the process easier and faster, you will use the copy and paste method. But go to the generic privacy policy template in the My Tools HTML folder you downloaded earlier and look below the header. You will see that there are 2 paragraphs. That means that you will create 2 paragraphs after the header of your web page. So type the start and end tag of the paragraph elements after the navigation bar. Then go to your downloaded generic privacy policy template and copy the first paragraph. Return to your privacy.html file and paste in between the start and end tag of the paragraph elements just created. Save and refresh your web page. Now go back to your downloaded generic privacy policy template. There is another paragraph after the last one just copied and pasted. So copy the second paragraph. Then return to your privacy.html file in your Visual Studio Code editor and create another paragraph. Paste what you've just copied in between the start and end tag of the paragraph elements. Save and refresh your web page. Again, go to the downloaded generic privacy policy templates. Notice the what user data we collect heading. That means you will create a H2 heading. So create a H2 heading after the last paragraph just created in your privacy.html file. Then go to your downloaded generic privacy policy template and copy the what user data we collect heading. Return to your privacy.html heading and paste what you just copied in between the start and end tag of the H2 heading. Save and refresh your web page. Again, go back to your downloaded generic privacy policy templates. You will see another paragraph after the heading you've just copied. So, copy this paragraph. Now return to your privacy.html file in your Visual Studio Code editor and create another paragraph after the H2 heading just created. Paste what you've just copied in between the start and end tag of the paragraph elements. Save and refresh your web page. Going back to your downloaded generic privacy policy templates, you will notice a bulleted list. This bulleted list in HTML falls under a type of list called unordered list. We will come to this shortly. But to make the process easier and fast, first copy the bulleted list. Now go to your privacy.html file in your Visual Studio Code editor and paste after the paragraph. Just save your work. Now to the creation of the unordered list. An unordered list is created by typing the start and end tag of the unordered list element. Therefore, type the start and end tag of the unordered list element after the paragraph, that is, before the first bulleted list item. Save your work. Now, you cannot just place the bulleted items inside the unordered list. You need to create the list items, one list item per one bulleted list. Since you have 4 bulleted lists, you will create 4 list items. A list item is created by typing the start and end tag of the list item element. So, type the start and end tag of the list item element in between the start and end tag of your unordered list. Save your work for now. You will now create the 3 other list item elements for through copy and paste. So, copy the list item elements you created a few moments ago. Now paste 3 times below, but still inside the unordered list elements. One, 2, 3. Now save your work and refresh your web page. Well, your list items are still empty, so you will cut the bulleted list and paste inside the list item elements. Each list item element will contain 1 bulleted list, so cut the first bulleted list. Then paste inside the first list item element. Remove the bullets. Save and refresh your web page. To the second list item element. Now cut the next bulleted list. Paste in between the start and end tag of the second list item elements. Delete the bullets. Save and refresh your web page. Now to the third list item. Cut the next bulleted list. Paste in between the start and end tag of the third list item elements. Delete the bullet before it. Save and refresh your web page. Now to the fourth and last list item. Cut the remaining and last bulleted list. Delete the bullets in front. Save and refresh your web page. You will now attempt to change the color of your list. Well, I will change mine to green. So I just add the unordered list selector to the paragraph selector statement in the style elements. Save and refresh your web page. Time to give your current and last web page a footer. Again, just go to your third.html file and copy its footer. Then return to your privacy.html web page and paste after the unordered lists. Save and refresh your web page. You can now test all your links. Although I explained how to create a skeletal template in this tutorial, that template is not complete. To get the complete one, click the video to your right. See you in that video.